Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel for some more recent Star Citizen news highlights. Now in this week's Around the Verse, presented by Eric Kyron Davis with Sandy Gardner, the whole programme was all about ships, and Gerard Huckleberry presented Ship Shape. First of all, Gerard told us about a new concept ship from Origin. It's the 100i series, and there's actually 3 ships in the series: the base 100i, the 125A, which is going to be your combat variant, and your 135C, which is going to be your exploration variant. Now these are designed as a starter ship, and obviously they keep the new sleek Origin design, which we've seen in the upcoming 600i. Now, one of the unique features of these ships is the new adaptive intake refinery. Basically, the ship is equipped with intakes where it will be able to extract a variety of gases from space or the atmosphere to actually use as fuel, thus giving the ship an extended range over other comparable ships. Now they will be looking to bring this system to some of the other ships in the game at some point in the future. Now one of the features of this ship is of course some great visibility, and this may give cause to some people upgrading say their basic auroras to this ship. Now be aware, at the moment you can only get this ship with lifetime insurance if you pay cash for the war bond. Of course you could do a cross chassis upgrade with LTI from that ship to get LTI on the 100i series. Of course, the reason you're pledging for these ships is to help the funding of the game, and obviously all these ships which are on sale will be available to earn in game when it's eventually released. We also got to look at some ongoing work for the 600i series ships, which will be available in your standard touring and exploration variants, with the exploration variant being available in 3.2 towards the end of June. Now this ship is very stylish, and it is the base for the design of all the Origin ships going forward. This ship is luxurious and also pretty fast. It's quicker than, say, the Constellation, and it also comes with a rover. But unlike the Constellation, it does not come with a snub fighter. Now it has increased in size from its initial design, which was going to be around 61 meters, and now is around 91 meters, so it's a fairly large ship now. I didn't pledge for this ship in its initial concept, but since then they've done some little bits of a design change to the cockpit and eliminated the struts entirely, and it's now got a very nice and very clear, great visibility from this cockpit. And I must admit, when this goes on sale again, I'm going to be tempted to either upgrade or pledge for this ship. So the 600i is a very stylish ship, and as I said earlier, it will prove to be the base for the design of Origin ships going forward, and we will see a rework of the 300i, and that will obviously increase in size due to the introduction of the 100i series. Now we also saw some work which has been done on the rework of the Avenger, and that ship is been redesigned to bring it up to the modern day specs of the ship pipeline, and it will be a larger ship, and obviously you won't have to now stoop to get into the Avenger. And they've actually now ditched any plans to make a two-seat variant of the Aegis Avenger, which was mooted around a year ago. So the Avenger comes in three variants. You've got your standard cargo variant, it's got some nice and handy cargo capacity, and you've got your bounty hunting variant, and that comes complete with some cells to put those bad guys in. The Avenger is looking a very nice ship indeed, and I think we'll see that in 3.2 as well. Well, that 600i and the new Avenger are really looking good, and Gerard Huckleberry told us that the team will split into two once they've completed work on those ships to start working on the 890 Jump and the Banu Defender. Well, there was a usual calling all devs this week, and Gerard Huckleberry called up some devs. Gerard asked John Crew a couple of questions this week. One was about if a ship is docked inside, say, a capital ship, can it still perform its functions without taking off, like drone control, scanning and shooting out hangar doors? And the answer was yes, within reason. Now there was a question on landing systems and radio altimeters, or altimeters I should say, and landing cameras. Now at the moment there's no plans for landing cameras, but automatic landing will come back into the game. Now this was in one of the previous releases, so they're hoping to actually get automatic landing back into the game. And Mark Abel was asked about markers on planets, whether they could change colour. Now they do know that the planets are a bit confusing with all the markers being shown, and what they're looking into doing is only showing selective markers on the planet, so we'll look for that in the future. Chad McKinney was asked about persistent ships when there's a crash. If your ship is lost, say halfway through, well, somewhere in the middle of space, will you get it back, and probably the cargo as well? And they're hoping that this is working at the moment in 3.12, but if it isn't thoroughly working, persistence and ships, well, hopefully they'll improve this as time goes on. So they're calling this a client crash recovery system. And Gerard Huckleberry answered the question himself about the Phoenix and the Origin 600i. Will the rovers come with those ships? Now at the moment the ships are obviously in the pipeline and should be ready for sometime later this year, but the actual Lynx rover and the Origin rover isn't actually being worked on at the moment. Now over the past week there's been several patches on the PTU, and 3.12 has now gone live, and it was just in time for a recent free fly event. So hopefully all those players who may not have played Star Citizen before got a much improved performance. And to be honest, during my time on 3.12 I have noticed an increase in frame rate and general stability. But of course the real improvements, as I've said before, are still to come later in the year. So look forward to those object container streaming and those bind culling. But for now it just shows the benefit of the Delta patcher, and it looks like the team are going to do some ongoing efforts to continuing to improve performance. Well, thanks very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this episode. As always, please don't forget to like, and if you haven't already, please feel free to subscribe. So until next time, hopefully I'll see you all out in that big universe sometime soon. Bye for now.